Florida nights have a strange way of hiding secrets. The palm trees sway like silent witnesses, the humid air clings to your skin, and somewhere between the neon lights of Miami Beach and the quiet suburbs outside Orlando, lives are destroyed without anyone noticing. Sophia Martinez once believed in love. At 32, she had everything: her dream career, a beautiful house near the coast, and a man she trusted with her entire heart. But trust is dangerous. Because sometimes the person who kisses you goodnight is the same one digging your grave. They lied to her. They betrayed her. They destroyed her life piece by piece. And when they were done, they expected her to stay broken. They were wrong. Because the woman they tried to bury didn't die. She came back different. Stronger. Colder. And far more dangerous. This isn't a story about revenge. It's a story about how revenge creates monsters. And tonight, you'll meet the one they created. Florida humidity wrapped around the city like a damp blanket the night Sophia Martinez realized her life had been a lie. The clock on the dashboard read 10:47 p.m. as she drove down Interstate 95 toward Miami. Streetlights flickered across her windshield while reggaeton music hummed softly through the speakers. The ocean breeze slipped through the slightly cracked window, carrying the faint smell of salt and gasoline. Normally, Sophia loved nights like this. Warm air. Palm trees swaying. The city glowing like a neon dream. But tonight something felt off. Her fingers tightened around the steering wheel. Her fiancé hadn't answered a single call all evening. Not one. That wasn't like Daniel Carter. Daniel was the type of guy who texted "Be safe, babe" when she drove home from work. The type who remembered anniversaries, brought coffee in the morning, and talked about future kids like it was the most natural thing in the world. Perfect. At least, that's what she believed. Sophia pulled into the driveway of their modern coastal home in Fort Lauderdale at 11:02 p.m. The house stood silent beneath the yellow glow of the porch light. Daniel's black Tesla sat in the driveway. Her heart skipped. Okay, so he's home. She grabbed her purse and stepped out of the car. Crickets chirped in the warm Florida night. Somewhere in the distance, waves crashed softly against the shore. Sophia walked toward the front door, then stopped. Laughter. A woman's laughter. Her stomach tightened. "Daniel?" she called through the door. The laughter stopped instantly. Silence. Cold. Heavy. Something inside Sophia's chest began to collapse. Her hand trembled slightly as she pushed the door open. The living room lights were dim. Music played softly from somewhere inside the house. And then she saw them. Daniel stood near the kitchen island. His shirt half unbuttoned. A blonde woman wrapped around him like they belonged together. For a moment, Sophia's brain refused to process what she was seeing. Daniel turned. His face went pale. "Sophia." The blonde quickly stepped back, grabbing her heels from the floor. "Oh shit," she muttered. The words echoed in Sophia's ears. The world slowed. Her voice came out quieter than she expected. "Who is she?" Daniel ran a hand through his hair. "It's not what it looks like." Sophia laughed once. A hollow, broken sound. "Oh wow. You really just said that." The blonde woman crossed her arms awkwardly. "I should probably." "Yes," Sophia said coldly. "You should." The woman didn't argue. She grabbed her purse and hurried toward the door. Sophia stepped aside to let her pass. As the woman left, she whispered something barely audible. "Sorry." The door closed. Now it was just the two of them. Sophia looked at Daniel like she was staring at a stranger. How long? Daniel exhaled slowly. Sophia. How long? His silence answered the question. Her chest tightened painfully. Months? She asked. Still silence. Her voice cracked. Years? Daniel looked away. Sophia staggered backward slightly, as if the floor had shifted. Oh my God. She pressed a hand to her mouth. You were planning a wedding with me. Daniel's voice hardened slightly. Look, things got complicated. Complicated? She stared at him in disbelief. You cheated on me in our house. It just happened. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. That doesn't just happen, Daniel. The tension in the room thickened. Daniel leaned against the counter, rubbing his temples. Look, maybe we rushed into this whole thing. Sophia felt something inside her chest crack. Rushed? She whispered. You proposed. Yeah. You begged me to move here. Yeah. You told my parents you loved me. I did. Her voice dropped to a whisper. So when exactly did you start lying? Daniel's patience finally snapped. Jesus, Sophia, stop acting like you're perfect. The words hit like a slap. What? You're always working. Always stressed. Always controlling everything. She stared at him. So that justifies cheating? I didn't say that. You basically did. Daniel sighed. Look, maybe we just want different things. Sophia felt like the air had been sucked from the room. Different things? He hesitated. Then he said the words that shattered everything. I think we should call off the wedding. Silence filled the house. Sophia's chest rose and fell slowly. Her entire future, gone in one sentence. The house. The wedding. The life she thought they were building. Gone. Just like that. Sophia blinked back tears. Okay. Daniel looked surprised. Okay? She nodded slowly. Yeah. Her voice became strangely calm. You're right. Daniel frowned. You're not even going to fight for this? Sophia looked him straight in the eyes. No. Because suddenly, something inside her had changed. Something cold. Something sharp. She walked past him toward the hallway. Daniel called after her. Where are you going? To pack. You don't have to leave tonight. Sophia stopped in the hallway. Then she turned. Her eyes were different now. Darker. Colder. Yes, she said quietly. I do. Upstairs, Sophia packed in silence. Each folded shirt. Each photograph removed from the wall. Each memory placed into a suitcase like a body in a coffin. Downstairs, she could hear Daniel pacing. Her phone buzzed on the dresser. A text from her best friend, Rachel. Rachel. Girl, are we still on for brunch tomorrow? Sophia stared at the message. Her fingers hovered over the screen. Then she typed back. Sophia. Something happened. 3 dots appeared instantly. Rachel. What happened? Sophia looked around the bedroom. The empty closet. The missing pictures. The shattered life. Her fingers slowly typed. Sophia. Daniel cheated. The reply came immediately. Rachel. That piece of shit. Sophia almost smiled. Almost. But something else bothered her. Something Daniel said earlier. You're always working. Her eyes drifted toward the laptop on the desk. Sophia was a financial forensic analyst. Her job involved uncovering fraud, embezzlement, and hidden money trails. And suddenly, a strange thought crossed her mind. Daniel had been acting weird for months. Secret phone calls. Late nights. Unexplained deposits. Her chest tightened. She opened the laptop. The screen glowed softly in the dim room. Her fingers moved quickly across the keyboard. She logged into the shared financial accounts. Credit cards. Business expenses. Investment records. At first, nothing looked unusual. But then she noticed something. A transfer. $75,000. Her eyes narrowed. Another one. $120,000. Then another. Her heart began to pound. What the hell? The transfers were routed through a shell company. Sophia clicked deeper. More transactions appeared. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Hidden. Laundered. Illegally moved. Her breath caught in her throat. Daniel wasn't just cheating. He was committing massive financial fraud. And worse. Sophia's name appeared on some of the accounts. Her blood ran cold. Daniel. She scrolled further. Then she saw something that made her stomach drop. A document. A legal authorization. Signed. With her digital signature. But she had never signed it. Ever. Daniel had forged her identity. Which meant, if the authorities discovered the fraud, Sophia would be the one blamed. Her life wouldn't just be ruined. It would be destroyed. Footsteps approached upstairs. Daniel's voice called from the hallway. Sophia? Her eyes slowly lifted from the screen. Something inside her shifted. The pain. The heartbreak. The betrayal. All of it began transforming into something else. Something far more dangerous. Daniel stepped into the doorway. You almost done? Sophia closed the laptop slowly. Then she looked at him. Really looked at him. The man she once loved. The man who had just tried to ruin her entire life. Her lips curved into a faint smile. A smile that didn't reach her eyes. Yeah, she said softly. I'm done. Daniel nodded. Good. I think this is for the best. Sophia grabbed her suitcase. Walked past him. And paused at the doorway. Without turning back, she spoke quietly. You're right, Daniel. He looked relieved. See? I knew you'd understand. Sophia stepped into the hallway. Then she whispered something that Daniel barely heard. You really did create a monster. He frowned. What? Sophia turned her head slightly. Her eyes were ice. You'll find out. Then she walked out of the house. Into the warm Florida night. And as the door closed behind her, Daniel Carter had absolutely no idea that the woman he had just betrayed was about to destroy his entire world. Sophia Martinez sat on the balcony of a small beachfront motel in Hollywood, Florida, watching the waves roll in like nothing in the world had changed. But everything had. The salty wind tangled her dark hair while the early morning humidity clung to the air. Below, a few joggers moved along the beach path, their shoes tapping against the concrete. A lifeguard tower stood empty in the distance, glowing pink in the sunrise. Normal. Peaceful. And completely disconnected from the storm building inside her. Sophia hadn't slept. Not even for a minute. Her laptop sat open on the small patio table beside her, its screen filled with financial records, transaction logs, and encrypted folders she had already cracked. Years of experience working as a financial forensic analyst had trained her to see patterns most people missed. And Daniel Carter had made a lot of mistakes. Sophia sipped the bitter motel coffee and scrolled further. Her eyes moved quickly across the screen. Wire transfers. Shell companies. Crypto wallets. Offshore accounts. Daniel wasn't just laundering money. He was moving millions. Sophia leaned back in the chair, staring out at the ocean. Jesus, Daniel, she whispered. How deep are you in this? Her phone buzzed on the table. Rachel. Sophia answered immediately. Hey. Rachel's voice exploded through the phone. What the hell happened last night? Sophia rubbed her forehead. He cheated. I know that part. I mean, what happened after? Sophia stared out at the water. I left. Good. Rachel didn't hesitate. That dude's trash. Sophia gave a small tired laugh. Yeah. Rachel paused. So where are you? Motel near Hollywood Beach. Florida Hollywood or California Hollywood? Florida. Rachel sighed. Girl, you scared me for a second. Sophia leaned forward and closed one of the files. There's something else. Rachel's tone changed instantly. What? Sophia hesitated. Daniel's committing financial fraud. Silence. Then Rachel said slowly. Define financial fraud. Sophia turned the laptop toward herself again. Money laundering. Fake corporations. Illegal transfers. Rachel exhaled sharply. Okay, that's not great. It's worse than that. Sophia's voice lowered. He used my identity. Another silence. Then Rachel said one word. What? He forged my digital authorization on some transactions. Rachel's voice became deadly serious. Sophia, that means if the government finds this. I know. You could go to prison. I know. Rachel cursed loudly. That piece of garbage. Sophia's jaw tightened. For the first time since last night, anger burned hot in her chest. He tried to set me up. Rachel didn't reply immediately. When she finally spoke, her tone was careful. So, what are you going to do? Sophia looked out at the ocean again. The waves crashed against the sand rhythmically. Steady. Predictable. Unlike people. I'm going to fix it. Rachel sighed. Please tell me fix it doesn't involve murder. Sophia smirked slightly. Relax. Pause. Not yet. Rachel groaned. Girl, you're scaring me. Sophia closed the laptop. Don't worry. I'm not doing anything stupid. But inside her mind, the gears had already started turning. 2 hours later, Sophia sat inside a quiet cafe along Hollywood Beach Broadwalk. The place smelled like espresso and toasted bagels. Ceiling fans spun lazily above while tourists wandered past the large open windows. Florida mornings were deceptively calm. Sophia wore sunglasses and a simple black tank top, blending easily with the beach crowd. But beneath the calm exterior, her brain was moving at full speed. Her laptop screen showed Daniel's business network. And it was huge. 5 shell companies. 3 fake consulting firms. 2 crypto laundering pipelines. And a mysterious investor labeled only as MG. Sophia frowned. That's interesting. Daniel wasn't smart enough to build something this complex alone. Someone else was pulling strings. She opened another encrypted folder. Then another. Then another. Her eyes widened slightly. Holy shit. Daniel wasn't just laundering money. He was moving funds connected to construction contracts in Miami, Tampa, and Jacksonville. Government contracts. That meant corruption. Bribery. Kickbacks. Sophia leaned closer to the screen. Then she saw the number. Total funds moved over 3 years. $48,600,000. Her stomach dropped. Daniel wasn't just committing fraud. He was part of something huge. And if authorities uncovered it, everyone involved would go down. Including her. Sophia closed the laptop slowly. Her heart beat steadily now. The shock from last night was gone. Replaced by something colder. Strategy. If Daniel wanted to play dirty, fine. She'd play smarter. Later that afternoon, Sophia drove toward downtown Miami. Traffic crawled along Biscayne Boulevard while luxury condos glittered in the sunlight. The city felt alive. Boats drifted across the bay. Music blasted from passing cars. Tourists filled the sidewalks. But Sophia wasn't sightseeing. She parked 2 blocks from Daniel's corporate office building. A sleek glass tower that screamed expensive lies. She watched the entrance from inside her car. People came and went. Executives. Assistants. Security guards. Daniel had told her he ran a consulting company. Now she knew what that meant. Money laundering. Sophia checked the time. 4:12 p.m. Daniel usually left around 5. She leaned back in the seat. Waiting. Planning. 40 minutes later, he appeared. Daniel Carter stepped out of the building wearing a navy suit and sunglasses. Like nothing had happened. Like he hadn't just destroyed someone's life. Sophia felt a brief flash of anger. But she pushed it down. Emotion was dangerous. Logic was power. Daniel walked toward his Tesla in the parking garage. Sophia grabbed her phone and activated the small tracking program she had installed earlier. Daniel's phone lit up on her screen instantly. She smiled slightly. "You really should update your security settings," she muttered. Daniel drove away. Sophia followed at a distance. Traffic moved slowly through downtown. Daniel turned onto the highway. Heading south. Sophia frowned. That's not the way home. Her curiosity sharpened. She kept following. 20 minutes later, Daniel exited the highway near Brickell, Miami's financial district. Luxury towers surrounded the streets. High-end restaurants. Private clubs. $1-million condos. Daniel parked outside a modern skyscraper. Sophia slowed her car. Her eyes scanned the building name. Atlantis Tower. Exclusive. Private. Very expensive. Daniel entered the building. Sophia parked across the street. Her mind raced. Why was he here? Meeting someone? Someone important enough to hide. Her phone vibrated. Daniel's phone audio connection activated. Sophia had turned it on remotely. His voice came through faint but clear. Elevator noises. Then a door opening. A woman's voice spoke. Daniel, you're late. Sophia froze. That voice. It sounded familiar. Daniel replied nervously. Traffic. The woman sighed. You need to be more careful. Sophia turned the volume higher. Her heart pounded. Daniel said quietly. She found out. The woman paused. What do you mean she found out? Sophia caught me last night. Silence. Then the woman laughed softly. Well, that's inconvenient. Sophia's stomach twisted. The voice. She knew it. But from where? Daniel continued. She left. Good. The woman's tone was cold. That simplifies things. Sophia leaned forward in her seat. Then the woman said something that made her blood run cold. Honestly, Daniel. I was getting tired of pretending to be her friend. Sophia's breath stopped. Her phone nearly slipped from her hand. No. No way. Daniel asked carefully. You think she suspects anything? The woman chuckled. Sophia? Please. She's brilliant with numbers but emotionally naive. Sophia's chest tightened painfully. That voice. She finally recognized it. Rachel. Her best friend. The person she had trusted for years. The person she had just cried to this morning. Rachel continued speaking through the phone. Relax, Daniel. Once the final transfer happens, we're both out of the country. Daniel exhaled in relief. Good. Rachel added casually. And if Sophia becomes a problem? Daniel hesitated. What do you mean? Rachel's voice turned ice cold. You know exactly what I mean. Sophia felt like the world had tilted sideways. Her best friend. Her fiancé. Working together. 4 years. Using her. Framing her. Planning to disappear. And maybe kill her. Daniel's voice came through again. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Rachel laughed softly. Oh, relax. She trusts me. Sophia's hand slowly tightened around the phone. Her heart stopped hurting. Because something far darker had replaced the pain. Betrayal from one person hurts. Betrayal from two changes you forever. Rachel continued speaking. The final transfer happens in 4 days. Then we disappear. Daniel asked quietly. And Sophia? Rachel replied calmly. She won't be a problem. Sophia ended the audio connection. Her hands were steady now. Very steady. She stared at the towering glass building across the street. Inside that building sat the 2 people who had destroyed her life. The 2 people planning to destroy her future. And maybe her existence. Sophia leaned back in the seat. A slow smile formed on her lips. But this wasn't the smile Daniel knew. Or the one Rachel trusted. This smile belonged to someone else entirely. Someone colder. Someone dangerous. Someone who had just realized something very important. They thought she was weak. They thought she was predictable. They thought she trusted them. And that mistake would destroy them. Sophia started the car. The engine hummed quietly. As she drove away from Atlantis Tower, she whispered softly to herself. Okay. You want a monster? Her eyes hardened like steel. I'll give you one. Behind her, the Miami skyline glowed under the setting sun. But Sophia Martinez was already disappearing into the darkness. And the game of revenge had finally begun. 3 days before the final transfer, Miami was drowning in heat. The kind of Florida heat that sticks to your skin like a second layer. The sun reflected off glass towers, turning downtown streets into glowing corridors of light while traffic crawled endlessly through the city. Sophia Martinez stood outside a small Cuban cafe on South Miami Avenue, sipping iced cafecito and watching people pass. Tourists. Businessmen. College kids. Everyone living normal lives. Meanwhile, she was planning psychological warfare against the 2 people who had tried to destroy her. Her phone buzzed. A message from Daniel. Daniel. Hey, can we talk? Sophia stared at the screen. 3 days ago he wanted her gone. Now he wanted to talk. Of course he did. Because criminals panic when control slips away. Sophia typed slowly. Sophia. About what? The reply came instantly. Daniel. Everything. She smiled faintly. Good. He was nervous. Exactly what she wanted. Sophia finished her coffee and opened her laptop again. Over the past 72 hours, she had done more damage to Daniel's hidden empire than he could imagine. Not openly. Not violently. Strategically. First, she rerouted a series of encrypted financial logs to a secure server only she controlled. Then she created digital ghost transactions. Fake money movements. Nothing large enough to attract attention, but enough to create confusion inside Daniel's network. Now the laundering system was slowly destabilizing. And Daniel had no idea why. Sophia leaned back in the chair. She whispered quietly. Let the paranoia grow. Because paranoia destroys criminals faster than police ever could. 2 hours later, Sophia walked into Brickell City Center, Miami's luxury shopping complex. The air conditioning blasted cold air as she entered. Expensive perfume drifted through the hallways while designer stores glittered under soft lighting. Normal life. Normal people. Sophia moved through the crowd unnoticed. Her destination was a restaurant on the top floor. Daniel had asked to meet there. Predictable. Public places made weak men feel safer. She arrived 5 minutes early. Daniel was already there. He sat at a corner table, nervously tapping his fingers against a glass of whiskey. When he saw her, his shoulders stiffened. Sophia approached calmly. She looked flawless. Black dress. Dark sunglasses. Hair tied back in a sleek ponytail. Controlled. Untouchable. Daniel stood awkwardly. Sophia, thanks for coming. She sat down without responding. A waiter approached. Would you like anything to drink? Sophia answered calmly. Water. The waiter nodded and left. Silence settled between them. Daniel looked uncomfortable. Listen, about the other night. Sophia raised a hand. No. He blinked. No? I'm not here to talk about your cheating. Daniel frowned. Then why are you here? Sophia leaned slightly forward. Her voice was calm. You forged my financial authorization. Daniel froze. Every color drained from his face. What? You heard me. Sophia placed her phone on the table and slid it toward him. The screen displayed one of the fraudulent documents. Daniel stared at it. His hand began to tremble. How did you? I'm a forensic analyst, Daniel. Her eyes were ice. You really thought I wouldn't check? Daniel looked around nervously. People nearby continued eating, unaware of the quiet war unfolding at their table. Sophia. I can explain. She laughed softly. Oh, I'm sure you can. Daniel leaned closer. His voice dropped. Look, this isn't what you think. Sophia tilted her head. Really? Yes. You didn't forge my signature? Daniel hesitated. Okay, maybe that part is what you think. Sophia's smile disappeared. You tried to frame me. Daniel rubbed his face. No. I didn't. You absolutely did. It was temporary. Sophia stared at him. Temporary prison time? No. Daniel whispered harshly. Temporary legal exposure until the transfers were done. Sophia leaned back. So the plan was to use me as a financial shield. Daniel swallowed. I was going to fix it later. She laughed again. This time louder. Several nearby tables glanced over. Wow. Daniel whispered urgently. Keep your voice down. Sophia leaned closer. No. Her voice became deadly quiet. You listen to me. Daniel froze. Sophia's expression had changed. The warmth he once knew was gone. What you did wasn't just betrayal. Her voice lowered further. You tried to erase my life. Daniel looked terrified now. Sophia. Relax. She smiled faintly. I'm not here to destroy you. Daniel exhaled in relief. But then she added. Yet. The word hung between them. Heavy. Dangerous. Daniel whispered. What do you want? Sophia's answer came instantly. Control. He blinked. What? You're going to fix the accounts. Daniel shook his head. I can't. Sophia raised an eyebrow. Why not? Because it's not just me. Sophia pretended surprise. Oh. Daniel leaned forward. There are other people involved. Like Rachel? Daniel's eyes widened. Sophia watched him carefully. Got you. He whispered. You know? Oh yeah. Daniel leaned back slowly. Well, that complicates things. Sophia smiled. No. Her voice was calm. It simplifies them. Daniel looked confused. How? Sophia folded her hands. Because now I know exactly who to destroy. Daniel stared at her. Then he laughed nervously. You think you can take us down? Sophia's eyes sharpened. You'd be surprised. Daniel shook his head. You don't understand who we're working with. Sophia tilted her head. Try me. Daniel leaned closer again. His voice dropped to a whisper. There's someone else above us. Sophia felt a flicker of curiosity. Who? Daniel hesitated. Then he said the name. Marcus Graves. Sophia felt a chill run down her spine. That name wasn't unfamiliar. Marcus Graves was one of Miami's most powerful real estate developers. Publicly. Privately. Rumors suggested he was connected to organized crime, bribery, political corruption, money laundering on a massive scale. Sophia stared at Daniel. You're working for him? Daniel nodded slowly. He runs the whole operation. Sophia's mind started racing. This just escalated far beyond revenge. Daniel continued quietly. If you expose this, you're not just attacking me. You're attacking him. Sophia asked calmly. And? Daniel's voice became serious. People who cross Marcus Graves don't survive. Sophia studied his face. He wasn't bluffing. Daniel truly believed that. But fear had never been her strongest emotion. Instead, she asked, when is the final transfer? Daniel hesitated. Tomorrow night. Sophia nodded slowly. $48 million. One last transfer. Then Daniel and Rachel planned to disappear. Sophia stood up. Daniel looked confused. You're leaving? Yes. He frowned. That's it? Sophia picked up her purse. That's it. Daniel called after her. Sophia. She paused. What? His voice sounded strangely sincere. Walk away from this. Sophia turned slowly. Her expression was unreadable. Too late. Then she walked away. That night, Sophia returned to her motel room. But she didn't go inside. Instead, she sat in her car. Thinking. Marcus Graves. That name changed everything. If she destroyed Daniel and Rachel without understanding Graves' operation, she might start a war she couldn't win. Sophia opened her laptop again. Time for deeper research. She began digging into Marcus Graves' financial network. Public records. Corporate filings. Construction permits. Political donations. Patterns began emerging. Very interesting patterns. And then she found something shocking. Marcus Graves had recently lost $30 million from a failed investment. Sophia leaned closer to the screen. 30 million. Daniel's laundering network moved almost 50 million. Which meant something dangerous. Daniel wasn't just laundering money. He was replacing Graves' lost funds. Meaning Graves didn't know the money was fake. Sophia's eyes widened. Oh. If Graves discovered the truth, Daniel and Rachel would be dead. Slowly, Sophia leaned back in the seat. A new plan began forming. A far more dangerous plan. Instead of destroying Daniel directly, she could let Marcus Graves do it for her. Sophia smiled slowly. Cold. Precise. Terrifying. Because revenge wasn't about anger anymore. It was about strategy. And tomorrow night, everything would explode. But before that happened, Sophia had one more move to make. She grabbed her phone and dialed Rachel. Rachel answered after 2 rings. Hey girl. Her cheerful tone sounded fake now. Sophia replied sweetly. Hey. Rachel laughed. So, have you murdered Daniel yet? Sophia chuckled softly. Not yet. Rachel said playfully. Good. I was worried I'd have to help hide a body. Sophia stared at the dark ocean beyond the parking lot. Then she said calmly, Rachel, we need to talk. Rachel's tone shifted slightly. About what? Sophia smiled. About your secret. There was a long silence. Then Rachel asked quietly. What secret? Sophia whispered the words slowly. Marcus Graves. The silence on the phone became deadly. Sophia knew one thing in that moment. Rachel was terrified. And fear was exactly where revenge truly began. That was the dangerous thing about it. The skyline shimmered with gold and blue lights. Luxury yachts floated silently in Biscayne Bay. Music spilled out of rooftop bars while sports cars roared down neon-lit streets. From the outside, it looked like paradise. But beneath the glass towers and beachside glamour, Miami had always been a city built on secrets. And tonight, one of those secrets was about to explode. Sophia Martinez stood across the street from Atlantis Tower again. The same building where she had listened to Daniel and Rachel plotting her destruction. But tonight felt different. Storm clouds rolled slowly over the city, hiding the moon. The humid air felt heavy, thick with the scent of rain and electricity. Perfect weather for chaos. Sophia checked the time. 9:41 p.m. The final transfer would happen at 10:30. 49 minutes. Inside her bag sat a small laptop, a portable signal booster, and a series of encrypted drives containing every piece of evidence she had gathered over the past 4 days. Every illegal transfer. Every forged document. Every hidden shell company. And the most important thing of all. The proof that Daniel and Rachel had been stealing from Marcus Graves. Sophia leaned against her car, watching the entrance. People came and went through the glass doors. Executives. Security. Valets. No one noticed her. Exactly how she liked it. Her phone vibrated. A private number. Sophia answered calmly. Yes. A deep male voice responded. You're brave calling me. Sophia's eyes stayed on the building. You're Marcus Graves. The voice chuckled. That depends who's asking. My name is Sophia Martinez. A pause. Then the tone shifted. Daniel Carter's fiancé. Former fiancé. Marcus Graves said nothing for a moment. Then he spoke slowly. Daniel mentioned you. Sophia smiled faintly. I'm sure he did. Marcus asked quietly. So tell me, Sophia Martinez, why did you send me 37 documents proving my own employees are stealing from me? Sophia looked up at the dark sky. Because I thought you'd want to know. Another pause. You're playing a dangerous game. I'm aware. Marcus's voice hardened. Why help me? Sophia answered honestly. Because they tried to destroy me. Marcus chuckled again. Revenge. Yes. He considered this. Then asked. What do you want in return? Sophia didn't hesitate. Immunity. Marcus laughed softly. You think I control the legal system? No. But you control the people who might make problems disappear. Silence. Then Marcus said something interesting. You're very intelligent. I've been told that. And you're willing to betray your fiancé. Sophia's voice turned cold. He betrayed me first. Marcus hummed thoughtfully. I admire that kind of logic. Sophia asked calmly. So do we have a deal? Marcus replied. Perhaps. Then his voice dropped. But first I want to see how this plays out. Sophia frowned slightly. What do you mean? Marcus chuckled again. I mean, I'm already watching. The call ended. Sophia slowly lowered the phone. A strange feeling settled in her chest. Marcus Graves wasn't just aware of tonight. He was already involved. Which meant Daniel and Rachel were about to walk into something far worse than they expected. Sophia checked the time again. 10:07 p.m. 23 minutes. She grabbed her laptop and walked toward the building. Inside Atlantis Tower, the atmosphere felt tense. Sophia entered the lobby confidently. Security glanced at her but said nothing. Wealthy buildings often relied on appearance more than verification. Sophia looked like she belonged. Which was enough. She took the elevator to the 38th floor. Daniel's private office. The elevator doors opened. Sophia stepped into a quiet hallway lined with glass walls and modern artwork. At the far end, light spilled from Daniel's office. Voices echoed inside. She walked closer. Rachel's voice. We just need to finish the transfer. Daniel sounded nervous. What if something goes wrong? Rachel scoffed. Relax. Sophia stopped outside the door. Her phone connected to Daniel's system instantly. She had installed a hidden access key earlier. Inside the office, multiple computer screens displayed financial dashboards. Cryptocurrency transfers. Bank routing systems. Everything ready for the final move. Rachel stood beside the desk wearing a sharp white suit. Daniel paced nervously. Rachel rolled her eyes. God, you're acting like a rookie. Daniel whispered harshly. Sophia knows something. Rachel sighed. She doesn't know enough. You don't know that. Rachel crossed her arms. Even if she does, what's she going to do? Daniel hesitated. Rachel continued confidently. Once this transfer finishes, we disappear. New passports. New accounts. New life. Daniel stopped pacing. And Sophia? Rachel shrugged. She'll figure it out eventually. Daniel looked uncomfortable. You said she wouldn't be a problem. Rachel's voice turned colder. She won't be. Daniel didn't like that answer. But before he could speak, the office door opened. Both of them turned. Sophia stood in the doorway. Rachel blinked. Daniel's face drained of color. Sophia? Rachel forced a smile. Well, this is awkward. Sophia walked calmly into the room. No. Her voice was quiet. It's perfect timing. Daniel stammered. How did you? Sophia placed her laptop on the desk. You're about to move $48 million. Rachel's eyes sharpened. Daniel froze. Sophia continued calmly. The problem is, that money doesn't belong to you. Rachel stared at her. What are you talking about? Sophia tapped the laptop. A series of documents appeared on the screen. Rachel's expression slowly changed. Confusion. Then realization. Then fear. Sophia spoke softly. You've been replacing Marcus Graves' lost investment with stolen funds. Daniel whispered. How do you know that? Sophia smiled faintly. Because I'm smarter than both of you. Rachel's voice hardened. What do you want? Sophia leaned back against the desk. Nothing. Daniel frowned. Nothing? I already got what I wanted. Rachel narrowed her eyes. And what's that? Sophia looked toward the window overlooking Miami's skyline. Justice. Rachel laughed. Oh, please. You're not some vigilante hero. Sophia turned back toward them. No. I'm something worse. Rachel stepped closer. You think exposing us will save you? Sophia shook her head. I didn't expose you. Rachel frowned. What? Sophia's smile returned. I exposed you to someone else. The office suddenly felt colder. Daniel whispered. Who? Sophia answered calmly. Marcus Graves. The room went silent. Rachel's face went pale. Daniel looked like he might collapse. Rachel whispered. You didn't. Sophia nodded. I did. Daniel backed away from the desk. You're insane. Sophia shrugged. Maybe. Rachel's voice turned sharp. You just signed your own death warrant. Sophia tilted her head. No. She pointed toward the hallway. You did. Footsteps echoed outside. Heavy. Deliberate. The office door opened slowly. 3 large men in dark suits stepped inside. Behind them, Marcus Graves. Tall. Gray-haired. Impeccably dressed. His eyes scanned the room calmly. Daniel whispered. Oh God. Rachel stood frozen. Marcus looked at Sophia. Then he smiled faintly. Miss Martinez. Sophia nodded politely. Mr. Graves. Marcus stepped further into the room. His gaze shifted toward Daniel and Rachel. The smile disappeared. You too. His voice was soft. Have caused me a very expensive problem. Rachel tried to recover. Marcus, we can explain. Marcus raised a hand. No. Silence filled the office. Marcus walked toward the desk slowly. His presence filled the room like gravity. He glanced at the financial screens. Then back at them. You were stealing from me. Daniel stammered. It wasn't. Marcus interrupted calmly. I don't like thieves. Rachel suddenly lunged toward the laptop, trying to shut down the transfer. One of Marcus's men moved instantly. A gunshot exploded inside the office. Daniel screamed. Rachel collapsed to the floor. Blood spreading across the polished tile. The room fell silent. Daniel stared at her body in horror. Marcus sighed quietly. Messy. Sophia didn't react. Her face remained completely calm. Marcus turned toward her. You're colder than I expected. Sophia met his gaze. They created this. Marcus studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded slightly. Indeed they did. Daniel collapsed into a chair. Shaking. Crying. Please. Marcus. I can fix this. Marcus looked at him. Then at Sophia. Should I kill him too? Sophia considered the question. Daniel stared at her desperately. Sophia, please. For the first time. He finally understood. She held his fate. And Sophia Martinez had become something he no longer recognized. She stepped closer to him, looked him straight in the eyes, then whispered softly, "No." Daniel gasped with relief. But Sophia finished the sentence. "Don't kill him." Marcus raised an eyebrow. Sophia smiled coldly. "Let him live." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "So he can watch everything he built burn." Marcus chuckled quietly. "Yes. I like that." Daniel began crying harder. But Sophia had already turned away. Because revenge wasn't about death anymore. It was about destruction. And Daniel Carter's world had just collapsed. But Sophia wasn't finished yet. Not even close. Miami was quieter after midnight. The chaos of nightlife slowly faded, leaving only the distant hum of traffic and the soft crash of waves against the shore. But inside Atlantis Tower, the silence felt heavier than usual. Rachel's body still lay on the office floor. The smell of gunpowder lingered faintly in the air. And Daniel Carter sat frozen in a chair, his entire world collapsing around him. Sophia stood near the large glass window overlooking the glowing skyline. The city lights reflected in her eyes. Cold. Distant. Unmoved. Marcus Graves walked slowly across the office, examining the financial monitors Daniel had prepared for the final transfer. His expression was calm. Too calm. One of his men dragged Rachel's body out of the room quietly, like removing a broken piece of furniture. Daniel watched in horror. He whispered weakly, "Jesus." Marcus turned toward him. "You're lucky." Daniel blinked through tears. "Lucky?" Marcus nodded. "Most thieves die immediately." Daniel swallowed hard. "Then why am I still alive?" Marcus glanced toward Sophia. "Because she asked." Daniel followed his gaze. Sophia hadn't moved. She stood still by the window, her silhouette framed by the glowing skyline. Daniel's voice trembled. "Sophia, please." She didn't turn. He continued, desperate. "I know I hurt you." No response. "I know I betrayed you." Still nothing. "But you loved me once." Sophia finally spoke. Her voice was calm. Past tense. Daniel cried harder. "You don't have to do this." Sophia slowly turned around. Her eyes held no emotion. "I didn't do this." Daniel looked confused. "What?" "You did." She stepped closer. Every movement slow and controlled. "You lied. You cheated. You forged my identity. You tried to frame me for financial crimes." Daniel shook his head desperately. "I panicked. You planned it." Her voice cut through his excuse like glass. Marcus watched quietly from the side. Clearly entertained. Sophia continued. "You spent years building a life with me." Her voice lowered. "And all that time, I was just your shield." Daniel whispered. "I never meant for it to go that far." Sophia tilted her head slightly. "That's the thing about monsters, Daniel." He stared at her. "You don't mean to create them." She stepped even closer. "But once you do." Her eyes hardened. "You don't get to complain about the consequences." Daniel collapsed forward, sobbing. Marcus clapped slowly. beautiful speech." Sophia ignored him. Daniel looked up again. "What happens now?" Marcus answered before she could. "Now?" He smiled faintly. "Now you work for me." Daniel blinked. "What?" Marcus walked closer. "You owe me $48 million. Daniel stammered. "I can't." "Oh, you can." Marcus' tone became darker. "Because if you don't." He gestured casually toward the hallway where Rachel's body had been taken. "You join her." Daniel's face turned white. Marcus continued calmly. "You're good with financial systems. Money laundering. Shell companies." Daniel realized something terrifying. Marcus wasn't punishing him. He was recruiting him. Daniel whispered. "You want me to rebuild the network?" Marcus smiled. "Exactly." Daniel shook his head. "No, no. I can't." Marcus leaned closer. "Oh, you will." Daniel looked toward Sophia again. Desperation filled his voice. "Sophia, please, don't let him do this." Sophia's expression didn't change. "You made your choices." Daniel screamed in frustration. "This isn't justice." Sophia replied quietly. "No. It's consequences." 30 minutes later, Marcus Graves and his men prepared to leave. Daniel remained in the chair, broken. Destroyed. Alive. Marcus stopped near Sophia. "You're interesting." Sophia crossed her arms. "That's one word for it." Marcus chuckled. "You could have simply gone to the police." "Yes. But that would have been boring." Marcus studied her face. "You manipulated everyone. Daniel. Rachel. And even me." Sophia shrugged slightly. "I gave you information you needed." Marcus nodded. "True." Then his voice lowered. "But you also created a situation where I solved your revenge for you." Sophia smiled faintly. "Efficiency." Marcus laughed. "I like you." Sophia raised an eyebrow. "That makes one of us." Marcus ignored the comment. "You should work for me." Sophia blinked. "What?" "You're brilliant with money. You're ruthless. And you clearly understand power." Sophia stared at him. "You're offering me a job." Marcus nodded. "Yes." Sophia laughed quietly. "That's insane." Marcus leaned slightly closer. "No. Logical." He gestured toward Daniel. "Look at him." Daniel sat shaking in the chair, staring at the floor. Marcus continued. "He thought he was smart. But you destroyed him in 4 days." Sophia didn't respond. Marcus studied her carefully. "People like you don't belong in normal jobs. You belong where the real power is." Sophia walked back toward the window. The Miami skyline shimmered beneath the night sky. For a moment, she actually considered it. Power. Money. Influence. The ability to control the systems she had always investigated from the outside. But then she remembered something. The woman she used to be. Before Daniel. Before Rachel. Before revenge. Sophia turned back. "No." Marcus frowned slightly. "You're refusing?" "Yes." "Why?" Sophia answered calmly. Because I already became one monster tonight. Her voice softened slightly. I don't need to become another. Marcus watched her for a long moment. Then he smiled. Fair enough. He began walking toward the door. But before leaving, he paused. One more thing. Sophia looked at him. Marcus said quietly. If you ever change your mind, I know where to find you. Then he left. His men followed. The office door closed behind them. The room fell silent again. Just Sophia and Daniel. Daniel slowly lifted his head. His eyes were hollow. You ruined my life. Sophia walked toward the door. You ruined your own. Daniel whispered weakly. I loved you. Sophia stopped. But she didn't turn around. Maybe you did. Her voice was quiet. But love without loyalty is just another lie. Then she walked out. 1 month later. Florida sunlight spilled across the beach in Fort Lauderdale. Sophia sat at a small cafe overlooking the ocean. The breeze felt lighter now. Cleaner. A newspaper rested on the table. The headline read, Miami financial scandal under federal investigation. Multiple shell companies had been exposed. Millions of dollars were missing. Several executives had disappeared. Authorities suspected a massive criminal network operating inside Miami's real estate market. But no clear mastermind had been identified. Sophia folded the newspaper. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. She opened it. One sentence appeared. Marcus Graves. Offer still stands. Sophia stared at the ocean. The waves rolled calmly toward the shore. For a long moment, she didn't reply. Then she locked the phone and placed it on the table. Sophia Martinez stood up and walked toward the beach. Barefoot in the sand. The wind lifted her hair as she looked out at the endless Atlantic horizon. She had lost everything. Her relationship. Her trust. The person she used to be. But she had also gained something else. Clarity. Power. And the knowledge that monsters weren't born. They were made. Sophia looked back toward the city skyline one last time. Then she whispered softly. You should have left me alone. The ocean breeze carried her words away. And somewhere in Miami, the legend of the woman who destroyed an empire in 4 days was only just beginning.